Welcome to Ground Control. As promised, I'm releasing the plans for the Glue and Fly Series F-22 Mini version 2.5. This is the version 3, but the 2.5 looks just like this airframe. The biggest difference between the 2.5 and the version 3 is the concentration of weight, the center mass of weight on the plane from nose to tail. It's a lot more concentrated on the version 3 than it is on the version 2.5. So some background information on the version 2.5 and how I came up with a version 2.5 to begin with. E3 Scott had volunteered to collaborate with me on the development of the Glue and Fly Series F-22 Mini version 3, and I jumped at the opportunity to have him part of this project and the development of this Parkjet. And the thumbnail that you see on the video is an image from his build of the version 2.5, because his looked so much better than mine. I asked him if I could use his image for that thumbnail. But E3 Scott he's a park pilot extraordinaire. He's got so much, he's at such a higher level of skill than I am when it comes to flying these RC park jets. So his test flights, his insight on the plans and how to change some of the things in the plans to make it easier to build the plane, his feedback on his test flights was invaluable for this project, and so I ended up with a better project in the end, a better flying park jet than I would have without him aboard on this project. So I want to thank him again for doing that. The first build we dubbed the Alpha build, and we tested the Alpha build. It was extremely stable, very maneuverable, excellent flying park jet. But we wanted to see if we could take it a little bit further and do a better concentration of the center of mass on the airframe. And so we did that, and we came out with the beta build, the second build of those plans, and it flew so well that the beta version ended up being the version 3. But I didn't want to abandon all the work that we did on the Alpha build, especially since it was such a great flying park jet in its own right. That's how I came up with the version 2.5. So on this project, the Alpha build ended up being the version 2.5, since I already had a version 2. And the beta build ended up being the version 3. So I have provided full-size plans, which is a 20-inch by 30-inch single sheet. If you have access to a local printer, that's the way that I prefer to have the plans printed, is on one single full sheet on heavy-duty paper, so that when I cut out the templates and use the templates to trace my parts on the foam board, I can save those templates and use them again if I need to replace a part or if I need to rebuild the entire plane again. Since a lot of people don't have access to a local professional printing service, I've also provided tiled plans in letter and also in A4. Now I have tested the prints for the tiled plans in letter, and those come out flawlessly. I don't think any of you will have a problem being able to print the plans, trim the sheets, and assemble them for the full-size plans on letter. I have formatted everything for A4 as well and created those tiled plans, but I do not have A4 paper to test those on. So if anybody has any problems printing the A4 tiled plans, let me know and I'll see what I can do to fix any issues with that. Okay, so what I want to show you is a couple of our test flights during the development of this park jet. The narration in the video is my speaking during my test flight for his benefit, so that he can watch the test flight that I've completed, or test flights that I've completed, and know what I'm seeing and what I'm feeling in the air, because we tested We tested the flight capability, the stability, the center of mass distribution, nose to tail, top to bottom. We tested it with KF2 airfoils, we tested it with KF4 airfoils, we tested it with different size and weight of lipos. We just did a tremendous amount of testing. As a matter of fact, the version 2.5 between E3 Scott and myself has, I would say, at least 100 test flights on that airframe. And then on the beta version that ended up being the version 3, we have another 100 test flights between the two of us. So both of these airframes have been extremely well tested before they were ever released to the public. So E3 Scott also created a build log of this aircraft. I will have links in the show notes to his build log for the GFS F-22 version 2.5 and version 3. And then check out his build log in general, because he's got all kinds of tutorials and guides and information on his Parkjet blog that's going to be invaluable information for you. I also have a link to his YouTube channel. Check out his YouTube channel. I mean, you'll see what I'm talking about when I talk about the skill level that he's at flying Parkjet. So what you're going to see is a field test, a test flight, one of my test flights on this aircraft development, and then you'll see one of his test flights on the aircraft development, and then you'll see what I mean when I talk about his capability flying Parkjets. And then when we come back, I will give you some information on the tiled plans and how I trim my tiled plans, put them together to make the full sheet plans. So here's the test flights.
Hey Scott, I wanted to record a flight with one of my 1000 milliamp 70C lipos just to see. Let's get it in the air. And it weighs, with the Velcro on it, in the plane, it weighs just a tick under 100 grams. It's another, I think, really good match for this little Parkjet. Full throttle turn. Yeah, you could definitely, there's no comparison between this and one of my 1300 milliamp 40C Zippies. They're just old and tired, and when you get on the throttle with the 70C LiPo, I mean, the response is so much better than those old tired batteries. Really winds out, doesn't it? Yeah, really good balance. And there's my alarm. I just don't want the fun to be over yet. Cha-ching.
Hey Tony, there she is, my friend. Anyway, this is actually my 6th flight. I've had 5 flights already. I found mine was considerably nose heavy. You'll notice there's the stock CG there on your plans, and this is where my plane balances right now. That's exactly an inch or about 25 millimeters behind. But anyway, I could have something misaligned. I checked everything. I checked my throws. Everything seems to be good. But anyway, I would probably maiden yours on the CG you have on your plans, and we can compare notes and see how you make out. Anyway, with the power system here, the Racerstar 2207 2500 6x3 prop. I've got one of my Tattoo R-Line, my new batteries in there. It's definitely a bit more peppy than my old 1300s. So launching, I'm only about 40% throttle. Any more than that, let me just launch it here. So a little bit of torque roll even at 40%. Launching any more power than that, and I'd noticed quite a bit of torque roll. Yeehaw! So I'm running your recommended throws, and I think you've got it nailed right on the money for good starting throws for somebody who hasn't flown this plane before, because it's very easy to handle, you know, to make nice turns. It is a bit lethargic in the roll, so you know, for me later on I would probably increase that, but I will keep flying it this way for testing. So there's full throttle. The wing is nice and strong. I haven't noticed any flex in the wing at all. So that was a full throttle turn all the way around. So I'll just take it up in a loop. Only needs just a tiny bit of back pressure. Nice and smooth. Dead calm day here today, so really responds well in the pitch. So I'll just, like I slammed the stick back there, so it would, you know, it should get you out of trouble. And again, people can adjust that. So just a bit of slow flight here. It does, I'm around 30% throttle. I wouldn't try and go any lower than that. Just very gentle and smooth on the inputs. Sometimes just a touch of power in the turn. I don't notice any too big problems with that KF2 causing it to get mushy or adverse yaw. Woohoo! Should be up there where Jim Kirk and the Starship Enterprise are before too long. Yeah, so she really motors and very stable at speed. So I didn't mention in the build log, I actually hold, I'm not sure if this is the way that you do it, but just so that we're consistent, I hold the plane upside down when I balance it on the CG. I know sometimes you can get a different, kind of a different reading if you do it the other way. I've seen all kinds of convoluted ways to do it. So very, very stable. I'm amazed for, you know, again, dead calm day here, but, you you know, for a plane that's under 11 ounces, like, you know, just over 300 grams, very, very smooth and stable. Really locks in at speed. You know, and even slow, I don't notice any, you know, it wanting to tip stall or anything like that. So you've nailed the KF size, most definitely. And you know, like I said earlier, just excellent, excellent throws. For starters, I'll have to show you where I actually measured it to make sure that we're on the exact same page where I held the ruler. Okay, there's my alarm. So I'm just chopping the power here. Look how beautifully it glides. Very, very stable. Just a tiny bit of back pressure on the elevator there.
Okay, so you got to see his test flight, right? So now you know what I'm talking about, and that's why I was so happy to have him on board with this project. Okay, so on the tiled plans, whether they're letter or they're A4, the very first page, and that set of tiled plans will be a test sheet. So I recommend that after you get your printer set up, so it's 100% scale, and the printer is not enlarging or shrinking the print, there's a test scale on here. So print out the first sheet only first, and take a ruler and test it against the test scale so that you know that your print is scaled properly before you print the rest of the tiled plans, so you're not wasting a bunch of ink and a bunch of paper. Now the tiled plans are formatted so that you have at least a 1/2 inch border maximum, top to bottom, side to side. So I think on the vast majority of printers out there, you should be able to print within a 1/2 inch of the edge of the page. My printer is not an expensive printer, and it will print within a 1/4 inch of the page. So I came up with this method as a way of providing tiled plans so that the vast majority of you shouldn't have any problems printing them. And I think this process that I came up with for creating these tiled plans will work for every set of plans I come out with from now on. So anyway, download the plans, build the Parkjet, go out and fly it, see what you think. If you've watched any of my flight videos of the version 2.5 or the version 3, you know what their capabilities are, and has unlimited vertical climb. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the air.